Guys, intro time.
Wait, which intro?
The wisdom check.
Oh, good.
Wait, no. I thought we were keeping the old intro. What's wrong with the old one? People like that one.
It was too long.
Yeah.
Too many fucking gifs.
Yeah.
Yeah. But can we keep the part where I yell more?
Oh, no.
Yeah, but it's the intro to end all intros.
I got like what? 2 lines last time?
Do you want more lines, Tim?
Well, no, not really.
In a world without answers.
Yeah.
Wait, you want to start with that?
Here we go. Exactly like last time.
Wait, okay, so we're doing the exact same way? Let's start with Smoky Bar.
No. It's a new season. We have to have a new intro.
More.
Not sure why we thought this would go any differently.
Oh, well. Welcome, everyone, to the Wisdom Check, where Jeff and Dustin welcome a guest every week to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Welcome.
This is ridiculous. I'm starting the stream now.
Wait, where's my die at? Well, we can't start until I botch, and it's not an intro unless I'm botching.
You're on.
And we should be on.
Oh, no. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Wisdom Check. I am Dustin. With me, as always, on the other side of the screen is Jeff.
Hey. How's it going, everyone? Hey, it's ttrpg. Welcome to the chat.
Oh, Swahili RPG is here. And tonight, we have returning the person who has the distinction of being the most viewed Wisdom Check episode to date, which is crazy considering this is like episode number 5.
Yeah, the Wayback Machine.
Wayback Machine. We have with us Chuck from Defenders of Cobalt. Thanks for being back on the show, Chuck.
Yeah, I'm just great. So that's how it goes.
There's a lot of love in that episode.
Yeah.
That was our infamous talk about 4th Ed.
Yeah.
And how to play evil characters. Those were the topics you brought to the table.
For the two, yeah.
Yeah, those were fun times. And obviously, those are hot button issues that kind of come up all the freaking time on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the web traffic. It's definitely been an attractive set of titles. But yeah, welcome. Thanks for coming. Obviously, we've been hanging out more recently with Zweihander games, so that's been great.
Yes, we have.
So,
it's been a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fire. It's been a lot of
Of course, it's been a lot of fire. Like, what do you expect?
That is Chuck's MO. Fire. It's always fire with Chuck. Every time.
I only do a few things well, and one of those things is lighting fires.
It is his answer to everything. So, one of the ways you get yourself to be one of the most viewed is I always joke. I always say nobody promotes Chuck better than Chuck.
I do.
He shared that thing all over the place, which is great. We love that you did that.
Yeah.
But one of the cool things about this is Chuck promoting Chuck is that you and the Kobolds onto a few other channels where you've gotten to run. You're running on Zweihander, Goodman Games. So tell us a little about some of the games you've been running over the last year, Chuck.
Sure thing. So I guess, we could start with the big ones like Zweihander. I'm running on the Zweihander Twitch. I'm running a little game campaign called Bloody Marches, where I kind of wanted to do a very urban based. I have a real hard time running games, not delving straight into the weird gonzo stuff. So we're taking just a little break. We'll be back in like a month with that. I've been running a Bitter Harvest there. Because on the last session, the party went to go fight a giant robot full of killer ballerina robots. And they did that by setting off a nuclear warhead.
What?
And yeah.
He's not joking.
This is Zweihander.
This is in Zweihander.
Yeah. Just when you think my plot line's wonky, just listen to what Chuck's got going on.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And then the fallout from that killed the towns they were trying to rescue. And then the big town that they were from, the giant, metropolitan area they were from. So now I'm kind of figuring out like, all right, where do I pick up from there? So we're coming back. It's going to be a little more episodic. Like I'm going to come up with, because the whole thing is they were a mercenary company. The party was a mercenary company. And everyone else in the mercenary company died except for the party. So now it's going to be them rebuilding the mercenary party and helping kind of reestablish this town that they accidentally killed everyone in.
So the first episode's got to be them doing like interviews, like in Deadpool when they're trying to make X-Force.
Right.
Bringing everybody in, like
Right.
have them come in one at a time. Like, okay, so what is it you do again?
That's it. Yeah.
Some good lines in the chat about that already.
Okay,
Yeah.
we got a question coming in from the chat already, Chuck. And I don't know
Sure
why.
thing.
Crazy actually know better. He's got to redeem his points for this. But Chuck, he has to ask, what's the blend in the pipe?
It's a Cavendish. It's I think it's a vanilla Cavendish. I don't have a label on it. It's bulk stuff that I buy from my local tobacco place. So, but I love nice dark Cavendish, sweet, mellow. It's everything you need it to be. So that's what I'm smoking.
Yeah, Crazy Ike. I keep forgetting he's trying to mess around with that pipe.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes people pick up new hobbies, I guess.
It's a great hobby. It's nice. It's relaxing. Gives me something to do. You know, it's good. So yeah, that's Zweihander. I've also got a game over on Goodman Games.
When does that take place again, Chuck? For Zweihander?
That's Zweihander's Friday nights. Every other Friday night. Yep, every other Friday. It'll be not this Friday, but next Friday.
Okay.
From 9 to whenever we stop playing. Central. Yeah.
Nice.
And then those same Saturdays, every other Saturday, I got a show on Goodman Games now called Danger Strangers. And yeah, we're actually right now we're playing through the hex crawl that's in the phylactery zine. I got it right here from Planet X Games.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
It's got a little hex crawl in it, so we're playing through that. And then once we kind of finish up with that, the principle of the show, what we're supposed to get to eventually, is just playing through every adventure, every module you can buy on the Goodman Games store.
So you're just going to start knocking them out in no specific order? Just
no
right
specific order. Yeah, just whatever I feel like running, that's what we're going to run.
Well, that's a good way to get a taste of everything.
Is this supposed to be continuing for? Or are they going to roll new characters each time?
In each game system we do, we're going to have like the core characters, and so you might be playing with character whatever Dan's characters is named. For this session, you're level 1. We're playing through this adventure. Next game I want to play at a level 3 adventure. So now you're going to be level 3. I want to go back and play level 2. So you're going to be playing the same character, but you need to down level them.
Oh, okay.
So
you're just adjusting them to where they need to be for the adventure, but they may the players may be retaining their same character, just various levels as they go. Yeah,
pretty much. And we'll bounce between the systems. So DCC, MCC, X Crawl, Dark Trails, use whatever we find up there. Mm-hmm. So we'll be bouncing between all those. But yeah, right now on that, we're doing the phylactery X Crawl. And it's good. It gives us a good skeleton to play off of. Mm-hmm. And then, I stuck some meat on there. So currently what they're doing is there's a ancient race, long extinct race of robot ferrets that want to destroy all humans and all, bipedal intelligent creatures. So they're exploring the pyramids that are throughout this area that have been left behind by those giant ferret monsters. And they just picked up another side quest where they have to go and collect all of the Wyvern Orb Zeta so they can get a wish at the end when they get all 7.
Wow. So that's a very long, drawn out kind of.
Yeah, it was supposed to be real quick, but I think it's going to be a lot longer than what I.
It's a little longer than you started with, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we got started. I'm like, all right, we'll just do this, and then so what I did is I'm like, I want everyone to give me a rumor, and I want everyone to give me your character's personal objective in this, and from there it just went crazy. So.
So whose idea were the ferrets?
Friendon.
Yeah, of course. Brendan brought that one in.
Yeah,
okay.
Of course, Brendan brought that one in. Yeah.
Right. Because it's not a game at the table until some just total random shenanigans comes through. Whether it's ferrets, whether it's nuclear bombs, apparently robots.
Dancing ballerina robots that kill people. I mean,
ballerina robots. It's fantastic.
I think I could go out on a limb, being someone who's watched a fair amount of the Defenders of Cobalt do their thing. Yeah. That random shenanigans is sort of your forte.
Yeah, I'm about it. Yeah. That's why, the more I play, the more DCC and MCC and those games that I really get along, because they really embrace just the weird random shit.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it fits well. It does.
You guys are definitely a group that does lend yourself to those systems, I think.
Yeah.
Just the mentality of the people that you play with on your stream.
Now, is there a particular slice of random weird that you guys delve into on like consistent basis, or is it just like all over the board?
All over. I tend to delve fantasy into sci-fi real hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then sci-fi, I tend to like delve into like 90s like childhood. So in the last MCC adventure we ran, they came across like an arcade in the bottom of this weird dungeon, and they had to like play arcade games like whack-a-mole and skee-ball, and it was so much fun. But the big prizes that they won, one of them was just a gun.
Okay.
So congratulations, here's a gun. Go have fun in this dungeon. And the other one was an RC car with like a camera attached to it that you can view on the controller.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know. Yeah. Fantasy, I'm going to stick it into sci-fi, and then sci-fi, it's going to go, very much, God, I don't know. What's the name of that game where you play kids and stuff, like Kids on Bikes. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Hey,
that's kind of how it delves for me.
Hey, thanks for the 100 bits there, Air Laser. Much appreciated.
That's fantastic.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
and there was kazoos.
Kazoos.
Matthew, that's Tyler in my group. Yeah, there was kazoos. There was mood rings, kazoos, and plastic spiders they could win.
Like the little rings, like the spider
Yeah,
rings.
yeah.
Yeah. I knew
Yeah.
which ones you were talking about. Yes.
Yeah.
It's been like mini bags of those here at the house for no good reason.
Right.
Yeah, it is interesting with the sci-fi kind of coming in there, because there's a few people in our Discord that are kind of talking like that too. Like Kazad is one of those players. And at least whenever I was running the Exalted campaign, we did that game kind of has an anime bent to it, like Gundams and stuff there. So like we kind of dove into a little bit of that during the gameplay, and it works better than I would think it would work. If you skin it right.
That old, whatever catchphrase or whatever the fuck it's called, where any technology that's advanced enough just comes across as magic. So,
right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's it's actually the dungeon that's in the zine, issue 1 of the zine, Winter Chicken Dinner. And the party will come across a refrigerator in it. And it's just so fun to just describe a refrigerator
without calling it one.
Yeah, in the most basic of ways. And then just to see people like that face, like, oh fuck, he's talking about a fridge.
But what's best is that the way a party will attack the fridge, then at that point, like they will investigate it, they will search it for traps, everything else. Like they'll do everything, and then they'll finally come around to like, oh, it's a refrigerator.
Yeah. It's a fridge. And then it's got breakfast burritos in it, and like making their characters go through. What do you do with tinfoil? Like, how do you get around tinfoil to get to the food inside? It's very amusing to get people in situations like that.
So, speaking of zines,
Yeah.
you have recently gotten one, I guess, published is the word we got to use.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, why don't we talk a little bit about the process of getting this thing? What is it you got there? That's Dan dies at the end.
Dan dies in the end. Number 1, Defenders of Kobold production. It's I don't know. Like, I've been kicking around the idea for a very long time that I want to put out a zine.
And let's just start by explaining to viewers who may not understand what a zine is. What is a zine? What is it?
Short form magazine, right? This thing is 30 pages. It's digest size. So just small tidbit, focuses on one subject. I don't know what like the Webster description of a fucking zine is, but I mean, that's the gist of it. It's just a TTRPG focused little mini magazine with cool things that you can check out and use in your game, hopefully.
Nice.
Our stuff is a little weird. It's funny, so it's good to throw in there if you want a good laugh.
Yeah, if you didn't get a good look at that image, I've got it here. I'm going to cover up my own face with it, so Chuck doesn't have to hide his.
There you go.
So let's do this real quick, so you guys can see that. I'll move it around so it's Not blocking my words. There you go.
Oh,
That is some
that's
cool looking
gorgeous.
art too.
Yeah.
That is cool looking art. Tell us about the art, Chuck.
So the art is by my good buddy Brendan. He's in my living room right now talking to my wife about art stuff.
He's on location. He's there.
He's on location. But yeah, Brendan did all the art. Brendan is fantastic. He's on the internet. Just look for Brendan. He's worked on so many cool things. Like you talk about anything, Brendan's like, oh yeah, I did art for that. Like he did art for like one of the Ninja Turtles cartoons. He did art for the new Mystery Science Theater 3000. He's done art for Harley. He's done art for MMA. I mean, he has done art everywhere, just absolutely everywhere.
That's pretty freaking cool.
He's amazing. I don't know how I tricked him into joining our group, but I'm not letting him go. Like, you're fucking.
Well, say, nobody promotes Chuck better than Chuck, so I'm sure you got a salesman's kind of pitch there for you. You got that thing down.
So it wasn't like a locals kind of meetup, right? So it was online kind of meetup, I assume.
Yeah, it was. When we started this, I guess I can go back and tell the story. Like I've been wanting to do a zine for a long time, but there just wasn't. I was motivated to do it, but I've got so many projects. I just didn't have the focus to set down and get it done. And then, like Brendan came on and he's like, oh, I'll do art for him. Like, cool. That's a step in the right direction. And it was actually Jen, Riot Jen, or no, Gentendo.
Gentendo here in the chat.
Gentendo here in the chat. She came on and she does a lot of project management stuff. And she said, okay, cool. We're doing this. And she's been really the driving force. Like she schedules like stand-up meetings for us so we can go through things. She actually did all the layout in this. So
nice.
The art's great. The jokes are great. The writing's great, but she put it in a way that makes it look fantastic. So yeah, she did all the layout on it. But yeah, Jen, she was the whip cracker. She got shit done.
She was the spur that made the whole thing go then.
She really was. Yeah. So
it's good to have one of those.
It made the difference. It wouldn't be done if Jen wouldn't have showed up and said, you're going to do this. So, yeah, Grouch Couch even joined in on one of the meetings.
Thanks for stopping by, Turk.
Yeah. So, and then it all kind of like I kind of pulled everyone in the Defenders of Cobalt little mini community we got there. So we got articles by a bunch of people in this. So like, I've got a creature. Christopher from Two Old Guys Games has a creature. Jeff from the Lollygaggers, he's got a landmark for the Heart RPG game. He's got one of those in there. We did communal, like we did kind of like a writer's room where we all sat down. We hammered out a bunch of goblin superpowers to be used with the Goblins tabletop game that Jeremy will run for us every now and then. We sat down, we did what else do we got? We did terrible hirelings. So we did like tender profiles for terrible hirelings that your players can hire. So that was a lot of fun. I've got my dungeon in there, Winter Chicken Dinner. And then I also got a short story in there, Zerl the Face Fister and the Dread Beast. That's Zerl the Face Fister was an old character of mine. Man. It was just a great name, and I've always really liked Zerl because he was just all bravado and muscle. Like there was no problem that he couldn't either seduce or punch.
So it's kind of like a Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Like that's Bravo. A good way to put it. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and do a Zerl short story for every zine. So the story coming up in the volume or issue number 2 is going to be Zerl the Face Fister goes to the farmer's market. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I've already got the basics of it hammered out. I just have to sit down and write the thing.
Well, how many of these things are you guys planning on kind of hammering out?
I don't know. There's no end.
Just run them out there.
Yeah, we're gonna go until the energy's not there anymore. We're looking at like a 3-month release cycle.
Okay.
I don't know if we're still on target for issue number 2. We don't have print on demand yet because we've been struggling meeting the requirements for for the printer to get it out. So that the cover's giving us a lot of trouble because Drive Through RPG, they're real specific on how they want the covers.
Oh, so all the art has to be in the standard model, I assume? Yeah.
It's got to be in a certain format. And I don't understand any of this layout stuff. I don't do any of the publisher stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's Jen and Friend, and mostly Jen who does that. So it's kind of like I'm the go-between where like I submit them something and they're like, no, you fucked this up again. So I take it back to Jen and I'm like, here's how they said we did bad. And we gotta fix it up. And then I take it back and they're like, no, you fucked up in this new way that we didn't tell you before.
Mm-hmm.
So I go back to Jen and I'm like, Jen, I'm sorry. We're terrible at this.
You get a wonderful game of telephone back and forth with that stuff too.
Pretty much. Yeah. Like I'm just
how many times do you have to run back and forth? You just hand the phone to Jen and be like, "Here, talk to them, Jen."
I should do that. I should just give her because it's all through email. I should just give her the fucking account. Like, here, you make them be good. That's what I should do. That's what it's going to take.
Well, there's clearly a lot that goes into this stuff, you know.
Yeah,
crazy. I'm saying every time he hears Chuck say Jen, he hears Bat Dad.
Bat Dad yelling it. So with your first one here, you got Dan Dies at the End. Is that the name of the zine that's good? Is that like the official name of the zine for all of them that come out after that? It'll still be like
Dan Dies in the End.
Wow.
Does
he die at the end of every one of them?
He is going to. So I've got the only print copy right now. It was just a test run I did. It doesn't have the back cover on it, but the front cover is going to set up like some theme in it. So that's our Tarrasque monster that's in this zine. And there's a little lady here painting it. And at the back cover of this volume is the painting, and it's the giant Tarrasque monster tearing Dan's character apart. Because Dan, if you can see it, that's actually Dan right there on the cover.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Wow, okay.
So on the back cover, it's the giant rat creature just like boop, like pulling him apart.
And for those in chat, we're talking about a specific individual who's actually chatting away down here, right?
He's in the room behind me too. So I've got
there is Dan, and of the kobolds, he is
Protista. He's in chat. Yeah,
chat right there. He's often. I mean, I know when we did the DCC tournament, he died like many times over. So is that kind of is that where the inspiration for the title came from? Was that
it is? Well, specifically, Dan has like infamous like terrible luck.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I thought that may be just that one dungeon, but yeah.
No, he's got like the worst dice luck. Like, if there's any way you can roll critical failures back to back, Dan will do it. It was a struggle for us, working through how to make sure everyone has fun when Dan is, a natural fumble machine. So he's taken on the play style of play in ways that make me roll the smallest amount possible.
Yeah. So there's a question here from Leviathan. They're wondering if there's any inspiration in the title from John Dies at the End.
I mean, that it's very similar. I've watched the movie before. I wouldn't say it was directly tied to it. It was one of those things where we were having a group conversation. It was like, oh, what's going to happen in the dungeon? They're like, oh, it's easy. Dan's going to die in the end. And then it was one of those like light bulb, like, oh, that's a name we got to remember is Dan Dies in the End.
So okay, these stories you're telling here, are they actual games that you played? And if so, are you putting in the canonical deaths of like when it actually occurred?
There are stories that Dan has died many times, but no, we're I'm just writing where the inspiration takes me on these things, where the things that people want to write. Honestly, with as shitty as Dan's luck is, he doesn't die a lot in game. He comes really close. Mainly he just fucks things up and makes life really bad on other people. The player who has the most character deaths is always going to be Jake.
I was going to guess Jake. If you were going to give me a guess, I was like, it's Jake.
It's Jake.
He plays like I play. He plays all out. He doesn't hold back at all.
He does not hold back.
all the time.
I have killed Jake in so many fun ways. One of my favorites is it was the last 5th edition campaign that I ran.
Mm-hmm.
And in the big city they were in, it was kind of like a hex crawl. They started off in the big city. They have to explore the wilderness, but in the big city there was a gazebo.
Oh, no.
And the gazebo was malevolent spirits that would transform either into a dark shadow or into a clown. So one day, Jake managed to corner this gazebo before it could fly away. So it turned into its clown form. And I just took the stats for a death knight. And Jake ran up. He's like, I'm going to fight this fucking gazebo. And I'm like, all right, cool. It's got this giant inflatable mallet. And it swings and it hits you. And I critically succeeded on that hit.
Oh, no.
So I rolled out all the extra damage. It was like 70 damage just flat out. And he's like, okay, like that drops me below my instant death level. I'm like, all right, you're fucking dead. And the gazebo steals your soul and makes you into gazebo.
Oh, no.
So now there's 2 gazebos in town.
It reminds me of the Munchkin card, the gazebo.
Yep.
When you have to break the gazebo alone, you can't bring a friend with you.
Yeah.
It sounds like they played it right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's fair to say that sometimes some of your guys' games get a very Munchkin feel to them sometimes. Like, that's the kind of things you would see pop up in a Defenders of Cobalt game. Yeah.
We're definitely out there. We got, I guess I didn't hit it. We've got a Forbidden Lands game up on the Free League Publishing channel now, too. And that's every other Saturday opposite of Goodman Games. And that one, I think, might be our least gonzo. We're only on episode 1. But I'm actually going to be running a full campaign module. So, and I'm not changing anything. So it's going to be.
That's good. That'll be different for you running just straight then, right? Like
it will. We'll see how long it lasts. I'm going to probably get bored and make it weird.
3 games in, there's Gundams shooting rocket launchers and
more than likely. Yeah. So I actually. I just announced it out today on Twitter. We're going to start running the new D&D adventure, Rime of the Frost Maiden.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got the book. We're planning it out. And I'm like, I don't want to run it in 5th edition because I would be okay if I never played 5th edition again. Nothing against 5th edition. I'm just bored of it. Like
there we go. Start that edition war.
It's not an edition war.
Every time Chuck's on here, he starts the edition war.
Listen,
he's gonna get the ratings up. For
you
the
hear
show.
it right here. Chuck says, "Don't play 5th edition." No, I've played so much of it. Like it doesn't excite me anymore. It doesn't spark joy. So it can go fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, what do I want to run this in? So I'm like, maybe I should do like DCC because that's my jam. Maybe I should do Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers of Hyperborea.
Like we're gonna say.
Maybe I should look at some other things. I'm like, no, I am going to completely change it into a Western.
What?
And I'm going to run it using Dark Trails.
Oh, Dark Trails.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it is going to be.
With Dark Trails. Tell us what Dark Trails is.
So Dark Trails is a DCC. I don't want to call it a spin-off, a clone, but it's a Weird West style game based off of Dungeon Crawl Classics.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a whole new set of player classes. It still uses all the core mechanics, the spells and everything. It's all interchangeable. So you could take a DCC character, drop it into Dark Trails, and you should be relatively okay. So yeah, but it's like, Wild West meets Wes Craven meets Cthulhu. Like it combines, the great other and horror and, Wild West.
It's a fantasy Western.
It's a fantasy Western. Yeah. The term they use is Weird West, but yeah, it's a fantasy Western.
Weird West.
So yeah.
Wild weird though. It's not quite there, but it's
a different kind of weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna redo it as like, you're out in like the Canadian, like way out north or the Alaskan frontier. But then just kind of keep all the themes and just retune everything. So it's just, just Western enough to accommodate Western characters.
Huh. So I don't know anything about this particular module. So like, I don't know where to like latch on whether this is like Crazy Town trying to adapt this or not.
It's going to be weird.
Yeah.
It's like when I ran Curse of Strahd with Zweihander, but took out Strahd.
Yeah, which I want. By the way, that was a fantastic campaign.
Yeah.
I enjoyed every episode of it. I watched it all on YouTube, so I was always
That's
about
great.
3 weeks behind the live episodes when I would like tune in.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, because I used to sneak to the episodes early. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd sneak me the episodes early so I get caught up on my walks in the morning. So it was a fantastic event. But you're the kind of GM who'd be like, I'm going to run Curse of Strahd and just fuck Strahd. I'm getting rid of him.
Yeah,
Like,
just get rid of him. Who needs him?
and he did.
We're
And he
playing
did.
cursive. Just
Yeah. It was fun. Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for this one. I'm like, I want to take the new thing that everyone wants to run, so they'll want to come and look at it because it's the new thing, and they'll go, "What the fuck is this? What have they done to this?" Wait, no, this is actually really funny, and the story's good. I might as well stay around.
That's amazing.
well, I mean, in a nutshell, that is gaming, right? Like, it's about what your group wants to do with whatever you're doing at the table.
Yeah.
You know, it's being creative, and if you got a group of people together that have a particular style, particular, comedy, whatever, just lean into it. Obviously, it's freaking cool. Like, that, we talk about this a lot, but it's like one of the more beautiful things about this whole online community is just being able to look around and seeing lots of different tables doing things slightly different or drastically different in some cases, and people finding joy in different ways that maybe never appear in your own games.
Yeah.
It's been pretty cool.
There's no wrong way to run these games, so might as well
you're having fun.
Yeah, as long as you're having fun, as long as everyone at your table's having fun, you're doing it right.
And here's where in our comments we get just landslided with, no, you did this wrong, you did this wrong,
dude. I gotta tell you, like, I love DCC. My DCC videos on YouTube get the most fucking flack. Like,
yep.
I have never gotten so many comments like you're fat and you're a shitty DM. I'm like, you're not telling me shit that my doctor already doesn't tell me. Like, come up with something good. But yeah, I get that shit all the time. Like, you're running this wrong, you're fat, and that's why you suck at running the game. I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's a fair number of criticisms on the Pathfinder 2 campaign.
Yeah.
I was surprised to see them, but it's like
people
every
get really
little
mad
mistake
if you
is like
deviate.
nitpicked. Yeah.
Do you think there's a core, like, I never see anything, comments like that, like on the Zweihander stuff either, though. So do you think it's more of a community that's based around the challenge of the game? Like, DCC is very much challenge the player more than
I
the
think so.
character.
Well, and I only get this flack from the DCC stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
4th edition, 5th edition, Zweihander, anything else I run that's not a Goodman's Game product, I don't get flack for it. Like, I'll do whatever I want. Like, someone will watch and be like, oh, you're running Bitter Harvest and you really deviated. I was hoping to see how it was ran straight out of the book. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, that's not what I'm running here. But if you just ignore these parts, that's what you got. It's constructive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, get in those DCC comments and people are like, you fucked this up. You should, stop playing forever.
I think it's the familiarity, because at least with the Pathfinder videos, the only place I'm getting criticism is on the module side of things. And it's like, oh, you forgot to do the wind direction on the vapors coming out of the pit. And you're like, I was rolling it on DM layer, but also that was a night of like a million tech issues that I was trying to navigate through.
Right.
So
you
it's
can
like,
only do so much. Like,
there's no way you can keep up with all this stuff. But hey, Featherfall Tabletop coming in with 10 viewers. Welcome.
We're here with DM Chuck from the Defenders of Kobold. We're talking about, we were talking a bit about their Zine, Dan Dies at the End, which you can get on Drive-Thru RPG.
That's right. Let me go ahead and give you the link.
Let's get a link out there for our new followers.
Show you that artwork. That's
For an
sweet
entire
artwork.
50 cents.
50 cents. Best 50 cents you're going to spend a day. Guaranteed.
You can get yourself a copy of Dan Dies at the End. Drive-Thru RPG.
Should get a good gander at that artwork.
There it is. That's a art by our buddy Friendon. Friendon did the art. Helped organize and put together there by Gentendo.
Yeah.
And a lot of creative juices coming from Chuck and the other kobolds.
Yeah.
And every episode, you get to enjoy how Dan dies somewhere on the cover, apparently, I hear.
Yeah,
So,
on the back cover, you can see how he dies.
every time.
But we were just talking about deviating from modules and how that is an interesting thing to do on the internet. with the feedback that comes from it.
I don't know what it is. If people just want to see it ran by the book, or if people like, I ran this module is mine, you need to run it exactly how I run it. I mean, I never run anything exactly like. If I'm going to run something by the book, it is a very conscious effort by myself, and it's I don't have as much fun with that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to write some modules for the Zweihander community right now. I'm rerunning Terror and Treefo with a second group off stream after my initial group ran through, and I'm slowly solidifying what that adventure is going to look like.
Yeah.
But if I hand it to you, Chuck, I want you to do whatever the fuck you want with it. Maybe it's just me as a creator, or maybe it's because I'm a home brewer at heart, where I'm like, here's a good story idea, but make it your story. Like, it's your story. Like, I encourage that idea, I think. I don't know why people would get so defensive about it.
I don't know. I mean, there's some of these modules that people give me shit for doing. I'm like, the module was shit anyway. Like, it was terrible. It didn't make sense. Like, I fixed it. You should be thanking me for getting to see how I ran it, because now you can run it better.
Yeah, I wonder if there's just like an element of familiarity that people want to see other people have the same experience they had. Like, oh, we had a lot of joy from X, Y, or Z, and we want to see how you do that. Or I want to feel like my group is better than another group by watching them flounder through it or something.
Right. I don't know.
There's some weird psychology at play there, I think, with the...
there definitely is. Like,
but that's why people tune in to see those things again. Like, if you see somebody running Tomb of Annihilation and you've been through it, you're like, oh, I can remember when we did this. It was cool. But I don't think I'd ever get too critical of how somebody else goes through it. Like, you deal with it the way you deal with it. You got different characters. You have different abilities. I mean, it's a little different than like when we did the DCC dungeon, where we had 4 groups all using the same crap sheets that come with the dungeon to try to get through that thing. Like, it was
Dan and I had the same pain. I was a horrible thief.
Terrible. But even then, it was cool just to see how the different groups ran that same module. Each time that we went through it, because it was a very different module when you ran it than when I ran it. Because you're a bloodthirsty psycho.
I killed the world.
You did. You
killed the whole world.
Don't undersell yourself there, Dustin. You're a bloodthirsty asshole yourself.
I am, but I was not nearly as bloodthirsty as Chuck that day. I mean,
yeah.
I am slowly developing a reputation for being a bit of a PC killer, which I did not intend, but it's happened a lot. So
it happens. Yeah. Like, all right. I don't want to call it a hot take. I want to call it an opinion.
An opinion. Okay.
People overuse hot take.
Lukewarm take. Got it.
It's a take.
It's a take.
It is easier to kill characters in 5th edition than it is in Zweihander.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Interesting.
I have killed so many characters in 5th edition.
I don't know if I buy this.
Boy. All right. Oh, let's hear him out.
All right.
I killed countless characters in 5th edition, like regular campaign characters, like that 5th ed campaign where Jake got killed by the clown. I killed 2 or 3 of Jake's characters. I killed one of April's characters. I killed a bunch of characters. By the time we stopped playing, there was only like 2 people that were still on their original characters.
Wow.
But Zweihander, I have the hardest time killing characters.
I don't.
No,
I'll eat fate points like crazy.
Oh, sure. But I mean, you only get it if you're playing by book. Now, I let the audience buy fate points.
Yeah,
they saved you 2 games ago. I mean, you can stack. I think Jeff's got like 5 fate points because Air Lasers tossed them on him like 100 times.
I've only got 3 at this point.
We took 1 last game from you, but but I mean, I mean, if you're doing fate properly, every character starts out with 2, most likely
2 or 1.
And then you're lucky if you get 10 games without chaos ranks, and you just got 10 order ranks to get up and any more beyond that.
I have not had any characters pick up new fate points.
Right.
Either through donations or picking it up through ranking up. I've got some that have picked up many a chaos ranks, but I don't know what it like. I can take out characters in 5th edition. DCC, it's kind of tough to take characters out, but that's by design.
Huh.
low level DCC, you kill them like there's no tomorrow.
I felt like we were pretty one and done.
Well, that was very specifically what in the industry you can refer to as a fuck you dungeon.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, that Thaculon dungeon was a tournament dungeon. It was intimidating brutal.
In regular DCC, you got your hit points. Once you drop to 0, you're bleeding out for however many levels you have. So if you're at level 3, you got 3 rounds. And then once you're dead, once the area is safe, your party gets to go and roll your body, make a luck check, and if you pass the luck check, you're alive again. You just take a little penalty to your stamina, and you're at 1 hit point, but you're up and running. Zweihander, like I said, I'll eat fate points like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
But once the players finally get down to that low number of like, I don't have any fate points, like they run and hide, they get real smart. I don't know what it is, but
see, that's what I was going to wonder about, because in Fit That, I don't ever feel like you need to be that smart.
Maybe that's what it is. Because Dan can back me up. Dan, how many Zweihander characters have I killed?
Maybe 3.
You killed Brian.
That's high.
He's saying maybe 3, and I
know you killed Brian, the apothecary drug dealer.
Yeah,
I watched him die. I remember that. You killed the Pumpkin King, but then you let him come back.
I did kill the Pumpkin King, and he came back.
Yeah, although that was due to dungeon bullshit mechanics.
Yeah, that was a resurrection in that dungeon. It was the Amber Temple.
Amber Temple, right?
Maybe that's 2.
And then Tyler died in Strahd, right?
Tyler, I don't think died in Strahd.
One of our first campaigns, somebody got murdered pretty hard.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Went all ham on them with misfortune.
Could be. I did dump a bunch of misfortune, but yeah, I don't know. It's just for me personally. I feel like Zweihander, I have such a hard time getting deaths.
Well, in my experience so far with Zweihander, and mind you, it's only been one game.
Ran by me.
Yeah. Because of the nature of how Zweihander is set up, I have an entirely different approach to combat than I would have in a D&D game, right? So like, and much in the same way, like in a World of Darkness game, I'm not thinking of like, let's go face tank this, let's go get my hits in. And I think that changes your attitude quite a bit. Like you're looking to maneuver, you're looking to find, strategic spots to be.
Yeah.
You're cutting and running at like half health, not like I've got 1 health, I'm ready to go in the mall.
Yeah.
Whereas in Fifth Ed, man, I'm like, it doesn't matter. You can have me down to like 3 hit points. I'll be like,
maybe that's it.
Fine.
Maybe it's actually a boon to Zweihander. Maybe it's written in a way that forces you to think a little smarter.
Well, and I joke all the time, and I know I've said this a few times, that you could tell Zweihander was written by Americans because nobody can afford the healthcare.
Right.
In my opinion, that is really, if for Zweihander to be as deadly as you want it to be, you have to keep the prices where they are. You can't hand out laudanums like they're
Yeah.
You gotta keep the health levels on. You gotta keep the peril where it's gotta be, and you gotta keep the fire underneath them. And
maybe that was my problem. Maybe it's all Joe's fault because Joe was playing Brian, the character I played.
Yep. The apothecary.
He min-maxed his character where he could pretty much print money.
Yeah. And once the economy gets out of hand,
it goes
buying all the laudanum you want. Like, you can heal up a little quicker then. The bandage is laudanum that you get back up there and start fighting again at full health. And
maybe that was my problem. Maybe I just need to ban apothecaries.
Tell them if they roll apothecary, they're quacksalvers.
Oh, there you go.
1 in 6 chance of it not working.
That's great. That's it.
Well, I guess the other thing to consider is in our game we're playing, it's Theater of the Mind, right? And that's a departure from us from our 5th Ed game and other D&D games. Now, is that the case for you guys as well? Do you do your stuff as Theater of Mind, or are you playing it, on the board?
Theater of the Mind.
Okay.
I'll reference maps a little bit now that everything's online. But yeah, mainly it's all Theater of the Mind.
So, see, that's where I think is another element here, right? Because, like, as soon as there's a grid, you're thinking tactfully, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I think in a Theater of the Mind situation, you're not as in tuned with, let me make sure I'm very careful, like exactly where I am, like where I'll be in the next 2 turns or whatever. Maybe that gives you like a different feeling, in terms of risk reward for what's going on at the table.
Maybe that's it.
You guys will find out soon because you guys are going to be on a gridded map in a couple of game sessions of mine. So
Here's where we die.
Let's see how it pans out for you.
Well, if there's any chance to throw fire, we'll be out before you know.
Now that I'm a giant fucking robot.
There's been some shenanigans in that game for sure.
Yeah.
It's not how I wrote it, but hey.
You just got to put me there and the weird shit comes out.
It's how it goes. I mean, I had to kill you twice to make it happen, but
Yeah.
What a gruesome death that was, too.
Mm-hmm. That was fun.
That was a series of a lot of bad rolls, too. That seems to be a constant in Dustin's games.
It's roll 20.
Mm-hmm.
it could be, because most of my game sessions that I've ran have been in roll 20, and nobody has survived my bitter harvest yet. And nobody is... very few of my groups have survived any of the Zweihander games I've run. So I find it to be plenty deadly enough if I just keep the stakes high enough and keep putting pressure on the PCs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most of the time they kill each other. I don't actually have to kill them. Usually they kill each other. So
Yeah. No, I'm going to blame roll 20 for a lot of that. Listen, have you all checked out Foundry yet?
No.
Haven't looked at it yet. Yeah.
Matt was on a few weeks ago and he told us a little about Foundry.
I dug into the back end of it a little bit and I was looking at how some of it's coded and it is intriguing. It's very intriguing from that side of things.
So much work up front because there's nothing in there. They just give you a character sheet that works.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to program in absolutely everything.
Which, I don't know, like for somebody like me, that sounds like a fun challenge. But I could see where that would be a little difficult for some people, or for most people, rather.
Oh, you know, if they get a rabid enough fan base that really latches onto it, you'll get a lot of fans out there doing a lot of that work for you. And eventually it'll be where you can find the resources out there for relatively cheap or free. And like, here's a 5e character sheet that works. Go run and play with it on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with like Foundry, I'm running Forbidden Lands in it. And I have to program in everything, every weapon, every item, everything. So like I spent like a week programming in Forbidden Land, but now that it's in there, it's so great. It's just everything's drag and drop. It's beautiful. So choice.
Those are nice features.
And I don't feel like the dice roller hates everyone.
Yeah. I really wonder what the statistics are on that thing. Like somebody has to be out there gathering data on this. And, you know, we can look at it and be like, is this really random-ish? I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about. Everyone's rolling high in my Zweihander game. That's great. Rolling high is good.
That's no problem. When you're supposed to roll low, you roll high. When you're supposed to roll high, you roll low.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And oddly, like doubles. Yeah.
When you had real dice at a table, everybody always had that die that rolled high, and everyone always had the die that rolled low, and you knew which one to grab for whatever check you were doing. Like an old second ed D&D where it was like strength check. You're like, I got to roll underneath my strength score. I'm going to pick my white D20 because it rolls like crap. And you'd roll it be like a 3. You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do that with the dice roller on roll 20.
Also, I don't know. Maybe I feel like just in-person dice, like if your dice are like treating you bad, you put them in timeout and you grab a different set out.
Yeah.
And at least it makes you feel better. It may not do anything. You're still, you know, rolling the same, but
now you can technically do that in roll 20.
Can you?
You turn on the 3D dice and you just change the color from the green.
Oh, is that what it is?
It's like you got a whole new set of dice. You know, you're throwing a different color suddenly.
You know what
it counts. I'm pretty sure it's the same.
That's a good way of doing it. But you know what else they should do is give you an opportunity to change the randomized seed. Because then you can add in all that superstition back into things. You know,
there you go.
It's like the most bonkers thing in the world with dice. Like I am not superstitious about anything in my life except for my dice. And then those dice, I am the most superstitious person ever. Like maybe not. I mean, all gamers I think are superstitious to that point. But there are some crazy superstitions with that bag of dice. I don't know what it is.
Like I'm not superstitious in the fact that like I got rituals or anything, but like I've got my regular dice, and if they're misbehaving, I switch to this other set of dice. Then if they're misbehaving, then I switch to this different set of dice. So like, that's it. Like I do have my nice metal dice, which I like to think that they roll very fair. The party probably disagree and think they roll hot. But I don't know.
I'm just going to go out there on a limb. Now, this is a basketball reference, but in college, I was in a fraternity, and we used to play half-court basketball out behind the house. And I had a brother who, his name was John, and he had a specific spot on the court that he would always like to shoot from. And he would basically kind of camp out there. We'd throw him the ball, he'd shoot. And he'd make them or miss. It didn't matter. But if you threw him the ball, he was going to shoot. He used to say, if you're on, keep shooting. If you're off, keep shooting till you're on. And that is the same philosophy I use with my dice. I just roll that die until it behaves. And
just work through it.
I just work my way through it. And if I fail, I fail. And if I don't, I don't. So like I use the Roll20 dice rollers for my characters all the time. And I use them as the GM. You guys see my rolls on Zweihander. They are what they are. Like I don't deviate from. I do the same thing with roll dice too. I pick out my die for the night, and I don't ever switch them up. So
ride or die with your die.
If they're on, keep rolling. If they're off, I'll keep rolling until they're on. Like
I'll hot swap shit, man. If it's not working right, I'll swap it.
Yeah,
very very faithful that way, I guess, to my dice. So if I pick that one, right, that's the one I'm using. So
there you go.
It is interesting psychology, though, right? Like it's an element of control over something completely random. You know, it's like you don't really have any control over it, but you know, you give yourself the self-soothing thought that you're fixing things by microwaving that misbehaving dice.
That was I have a tendency sometimes, especially like for D&D characters, like I'll go get myself a specific 20 for that character.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was fortunate, the people from Die Hard Dice gave us a fantastic set of 20s for our Everstorm characters. So like when we play in person, like that D20 is Bowron's D20. It's the only one I'll roll for. I don't care if it kills him or not. Like that die is officially tied to his fate. Like where it goes, he goes. So that's the one.
So what happens when you stop playing that character?
Well, I get the next character. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I've got that situation right now. That die sits in the bag right there.
Yeah.
For a joyous time where I remember that character.
Are you memorializing the Skeezer 20?
I'm sure I'll use it again. But, you know, we do so much Roll20 stuff, I never get a chance to really roll the die. So.
Right. I mean,
we only play like once or twice a year in person.
Yeah. Well, you can
see it behind me. Yeah, you can see it back here.
That chest there?
But back there in front of those little statues is where my 20s sit. So they sit there in front of a statue.
On the bottom of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I see
that right there is a Buddha. And that's where my dice sit there in front of Buddha, where they get all their channeled energy in.
There you go.
I'm curious in the chat. I can't be the only one who has random superstitions with their dice or weird rituals or anything. If you got one, put it in there in the chat for us to see, because I think these are going to be entertaining.
Like you only use your dice after you pick it up off the floor with your toes and drop it in your dice tower or something like that. I don't know.
I think Dustin's is he drops his die like 600 times. They go flying across the floor. And that's just a consistent thing for him.
I'm a perpetual fiddler. Like I'm always fiddling with something. My car keys. I'll have my car keys in my hand all the time. My wife's like, "Hey, it's that way." I'm like, "No." I've just got my car keys in my hand. Always have in my hand. So I'm always doing stuff like that. So when I'm sitting down at the table, I often will have my dice that I used to play, and then like I usually have a few other dice that I'm messing around with, and I will drop them constantly. It drives Jeff nuts.
I'm always the one that has to catch them because it always rolls towards me for some reason. It's like it goes underneath my chair, underneath the table, out to the wall behind me.
And a solid like 75% of the time, it's not a die I'm actually going to use. He could leave it. I'll just pick a new one.
Right?
It'd just be a graveyard of dice back there.
Yeah, it would be after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We have somebody here. Gentendo says, I need my dice to match the mood. If I'm playing rogue, I go with flesh and blood dice.
Okay.
Nice. So we got color-based ones.
Yeah.
See, mine is I don't like anyone else touching my dice in the dice bag, right? That's one.
But that's a I don't know, like a faux pas or something like that. I don't know. I'm the same boat. Like these are my dice. You can't roll these dice. Like I might show them to you and you can look at them.
Yeah, but I think it goes beyond just ownership. I think it goes into like there's a feeling like you're going to suck the luck out of the dice somehow, even though that's not a thing that could possibly ever happen, right?
But yeah, I don't know. It's their dice are a very personal item.
They are. Now, do you feel as though like the dice bag is like where it recharges its luck?
I
like
do.
If you're mad at it, you just put it back in the dice bag for a bit. You pull it back out. It's like a rechargeable battery.
It goes beyond that, Dustin. For me, part of the reason why I have so many dice.
Dirty. They're always dirty.
For me, the reason why I have so many dice, like there's like probably a half or more of those dice I'm never going to roll. But for some reason in my head, I've convinced myself that they have some impact on my good dice rolling well. So it's like they have to be in there.
So it's like the crowd and the cheerleaders, right? For the athlete, there's your athlete dice, and then there's like all the cheerleader dice, right? That are hanging out there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's some wacky ones. There's like a certain way I want to roll my die. It's always backspin.
Oh, aren't you fancy?
I don't know. There's some like little wacky things. Like I paid attention to this because I thought it was so weird that like I've never been superstitious, but like this, I've got all kinds of stupid little rituals I do, and I don't know. Like I didn't intentionally start doing them; they just started happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I do dice towers, and I think it's because I had a problem player for a while who would like throw their dice across the fucking room, like not like they were overhanding it. They just were, they would just roll the dice, and it was like boom, boom, like off the fucking table across the room, and it's like, okay, now we all have to use a dice tower because you're obviously not trustworthy with a fucking die.
Oh, that's good.
Dan says it's him. He eats his dice onto the floor.
Yeah,
and just drops his dice.
Maybe that's how you roll so bad.
He's just a constant fiddler who just drops his dice all the time. That's
when Dan sets up in the room, he'll have his little dice tower, and they'll have his playing dice, and then he'll have like all 300 of his other dice and like an arc around him, like some weird dice ritual. It's like every dice he owns is there, just like as witness.
Do you ever have to make like a dice sacrifice? Do you ever melt one? You're just like, this one is. Tonight we're burning this one in effigy. Toss it in the fireplace, or
I've done it.
Hammer was the appropriate way to.
I guess it depends on what kind of die you've got. Yeah.
I set an example one time. There was one time I microwaved a die with the other dice sitting on the outside of the microwave looking at them. So I put the low number on the top of the one inside the microwave, and the top but the other one's all the max number, and then like just put it in there for like 3 or 4 seconds. Just enough.
Just enough to put that fear in there.
It knows.
I don't know if you consider it superstition, but I've always considered the official dice bag for gamers everywhere to be the Corona, the purple Corona bag is the official dice bag.
And Corona bag. I've got my brown Corona bag.
Mm-hmm.
I've got my orange Corona bag and a dark orange Corona bag. Somewhere I got a purple Corona bag. What I'm saying is, I just got a drinking
Crown Royal.
Crown Royal. Yeah, you said the wrong word
these days because that's what I do at work all day. And
all day, every day.
I realized I said it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Crown Royal.
So my son started playing D&D, and so I recently ran a game for my 3 kids, and I found that at Walmart, of all places, there's a set of 3 dice you can get for $8.
Which is awesome.
They were actually fantastic. They were and so I got these 3 sets of dice, and then when they were done, I kept one set and I gave the other 2 to my son, who's starting to play with his friends. And then I went out and got myself a bottle of Crown Royal so I could give him the bag. I'm like, here's your dice bag, son. I was like, so he's got himself a Crown Royal purple dice bag now too.
Good. When my oldest joined D&D club at school, I bought them a set of dice, and I brought them the little Illithid Mind Flayer dice bag.
Oh, cool.
James, so they could clip it onto their bag, and they've always got their dice handy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I just realized this is from 97.
God, how do you know it's from 97? Has it got a date on there somewhere?
It has. Yeah, it's got the little symbol on there for 97 from the year that.
Man, that's random. Like mine definitely does not. I don't know how it's still intact though. It's
1997.
Those are good bags, man. Like we've had those things for decades with dice in them.
Fun fact: I was 18 in 1997. So.
Mm-hmm.
No, they don't. I talked to Matt about this. Jowzam.
Mm-hmm.
He's Canadian. They make Crown Royal in Canada. They don't include the bags in Canada.
What?
So he can't get Crown Royal bags. I sent him like a little care package a while back, just some stuff, and I just put in a shitload of Crown Royal bags because he can't get them up there.
Man, it's like it's the perfect dice bag. Like
it's so good.
Canada, you do so many things right. How did you not do that one right? Grouch Catcher with 3 in 97.
Wow,
7.
What in the hell?
That was my junior year of high school.
I don't know if I was too far off. I was 13. All right.
Yeah, 14.
Just showing my age. The old
Yeah.
group.
Yep. Man,
I earned all these gray hairs, you know.
it's good stuff, man. Yeah. It was interesting how often we all had that bag, though. It's like, how old are you? 14. Cool, I got a Crown Royal bag.
That's what I'm saying. Like, don't ask how I got it at that age.
Listen, you were either the kid that could grow face hair early, or you were a friend of the kid who could grow face hair early.
Or the one that had the older brother.
Mm-hmm.
Or the one that had the older brother. That's it.
That's how we got him.
Jen, she's saying I'm a baby, but I'm a month younger than her.
And that's amazing. So let's talk a little about maybe some other future projects you got coming up here, Chuck. Now you got a lot of different games that you're putting out there. We talked a little bit about what you got going on Goodman Games and what you have going on with Zweihander. What do you have on your own channel coming up on Defenders?
Defenders of Cobalt. I'm at the point now where I have a hard time keeping Defenders of Cobalt, keeping enough content on my own channel because I'm doing so much stuff on other channels now. But so Defenders of Cobalt every other Wednesday, Jeremy from Grim and Perilous Studios is running spectaculars for us.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, coming up. So this Wednesday, Jeremy's running. Next Wednesday, I'm starting a run of Cyberpunk Red, the Jumpstart kit.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
we're going to be doing that for a month or maybe 2-3 sessions. Every other Friday, we still have Joe in the crew is running her 5th edition campaign.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps saying he's going to switch it to something else. I don't know what he's going to switch it to. I think it's Zweihander's is top runner right now. And then
campaign, or is he going to start a whole new campaign?
He is going to do a new campaign in the same universe, in the same world.
In the same world.
Interesting.
Yeah. So.
And that's his Knives and Pepper Shakers?
Knives and Pepper Shakers was what it started out as. We had a soft TPK.
Soft TPK. What the hell does that mean?
So it started off as we were doing this thing. Things got real bad. Everyone almost died. We kind of went back to our safe base. One of our characters was dead, and there was like an elemental figure there, deity, who's just like, all right, this character is dead. I'm going to resurrect him. It's going to take like a month. I was playing a wizard at the time, a gnome wizard. He's just like, nah, shit's too crazy with you all. I'm out.
Cut and run.
So I brought back I had a warlock in the previous 5th edition campaign, Morthos the Red.
Oh, Morthos, yes.
Of course, Morthos died and he went to hell. But Morthos got sent back to do more work for Asmodeus. So now he's Morthos the Resurrected, and he's a cleric. So I brought back Morthos back, and Morthos is a cleric with strong necromancy ties. So like in that previous campaign with Morthos, Jake's character was named Conrad. Conrad and Morthos were good friends. So the new Morthos can raise dead. So he always has a skeleton lackey with him that he names Conrad. So Conrad was in robes and everything. You couldn't see it. Well, the party that I joined into, and the character Theron, his character died, and he decided to play an evil wizard. He was playing a necromancer. So we had these two, an evil cleric and an evil wizard, walk into a bar. It kind of starts off as a bad joke. But then one night, the party's just like, why do you have a skeleton walking around with you? And it kind of went PvP for a little bit. Because they wouldn't stop, and I was just like, I'm just trying to help you guys out. Like, I don't know why you're giving me such a hard time. And yeah, it turned into, I say a soft TPK as in my character chased off all of their old characters. I didn't kill any of them, but they had this, that wood spirit elemental gave some magical leaves. If you throw it on the ground, it teleports you, or makes a portal and teleports you back to its sanctum. So like one character, like I knocked him down and I took their leaves and I threw their leaf on him, teleporting him back to the sanctum. And so then I was fighting another character and they were losing, so they teleported back. So then the last character teleported back. So all of a sudden it's the party separated, the party split by like hundreds of miles.
Oh wow.
And we're just like, these characters, they're not going to mesh together. And I'm just like, listen, I just rolled my fucking character. I'm not making a new character because you all attacked him. So I made the rest of the party roll up new characters. So it's a soft TPK. Is no one actually died,
Wow.
but it was broken in a way that we couldn't continue on with those characters.
Huh.
So it's still the same world. It's like a year in the future
Mm-hmm.
where I'm playing Morthos and Theron's playing his evil wizard, and everyone else has new characters. And it's an all evil party now, which is fantastic.
Ooh.
So yeah, the soft TPK. So probably we're gonna get maybe a hard TPK, and then Joe's gonna start up a new story in the same world, probably advancing the clock and playing. I think he's leaning his Zweihander. So yeah. So now you know what a soft TPK is.
That's pretty fascinating. So like in all this stuff, there's some things that are interesting because we've talked about PvP, player versus player activity, and in the tabletop, and usually it's like one of those things that like people have to kind of negotiate out, above the table. Like, is this going to be something we do in the game? Was that something you guys talked about, or was that just like
no?
I
will tell you, tempers were very high that night.
Yeah.
We didn't talk to each other for a few days because it escalated very quickly. Where I think we had this conversation when it was playing evil characters before. Where you can play an evil character, but like you don't brush your teeth evil. Like you need to find a reason to work with the party. And I was going out of my way to try and live up to that reason. Like, yes, I'm an evil character, but I'm a team player. And they kind of got caught up on like, you're an evil character. Why are you being an evil character? Why do you have this skeleton? And I'm just like, everything's cool. And it just escalated from there. Like there was no tempers got going, things went bad. We actually, in a not my greatest moment, we had an NPC that had been traveling with us in this game for a while by the name of Possum Tom. And so after everyone else teleported away, only Possum Tom was left, and he was just standing there like, what the hell happened? I'm like, I was mad. I'm like, I caved his fucking head in. Like, so I killed Possum Tom there.
Not Possum Tom, no.
And so actually in the current game, my current skeleton, Conrad number 8, is still Possum Tom's skeleton.
Nice.
Oh, I'm Conrad. It's still keep the thing going.
Yeah. So every time that Conrad dies, Possum Tom's skeleton, I gather all the bones up and I just cast Raise Dead on it again the next day. Patch it in with new bones where I need to.
Interesting. Yeah, but that's an interesting thing to kind of go through as a table and as a group, right? So like I assume that's a group that you played with, consistently, right? So this isn't like a random group of people.
No, we've been playing together for years.
And so like it's a really interesting bit of friction to have at a table, because like we're kind of having a little bit of that right now in our 5th ed game with my new character, right? So like I came in and there's immediately some friction with Kodo, the paladin. It's always a paladin, right? So like I don't know, like when you were sitting about making your character, like why, outside of just having the character in your back pocket and an interesting story, was there thought about selecting an evil character within the context of the party, or was it just kind of like, fuck it, full send?
Well, like none of the party was like super good paladin. But I'm just like, even still, I can play an evil character and I can mesh with a good party. Like, I'll just have to, there's things you have to dance around, right? You have to make sure that I let the good characters get to be good. And every now and then the good characters have to let me be bad. And if that means, maybe a little bit of hand waving, like, oh, I go do this and I'm not paying attention or something like that. And there can be a little bit of conflict between people, but there needs to be that line, where there's got to be that kind of that respect there. Like we need to, whatever comes first, we have to make sure, Yeah. So like Dan just pointed out, like Morthos's the previous run of Morthos, Dan was playing a paladin, a cleric named Nerion, who was super good.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this fun dynamic where he was good and I was bad. So we were always kind of antagonistic to each other,
Mm-hmm.
but it worked out. It was fun. He tried to get me to do good things and I snuck around and tried to get him to do bad things. So we've had that dynamic in the same group before, but it just didn't click this time.
So was there anything in particular that kind of set the powder keg off? Like, was it?
It was the skeleton. People were like, why isn't this person talking? Because I wasn't telling them that he was a skeleton. I'm like, listen, he's took a vow of silence. He's a monk. He doesn't want to talk. He's harmless. Please don't worry about him. And then they just didn't take that.
He was the elephant in the room. He
was the elephant in the room.
Gotcha.
And it was one of those things where they could have just said, like, I'm really suspicious of that. I'm going to keep my eye on him. And then we move on. But it wasn't. It was like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and attack him.
Oh.
And see what happens. And so, yeah, then things just like, all right, if you're attacking me, I'm attacking you back.
So attack you or attack the skeleton?
The skeleton.
Okay. Man.
What if someone attacks your servant? You're just not going to let that stand.
That's messed up. Huh.
So, yeah, it was, I ended up casting darkness on myself so my skeleton and I could sneak out.
Mm-hmm.
But they just kept on coming after me, like after I tried to escape. And it was like, all right, we gotta do this. Like, I'll show you what an angry cleric can do.
Now, how many game sessions into the new character appearing did this occur? Was it like right away?
It was session 1.
He didn't even get out the gate with him.
Wow.
Didn't even get out the gate with him. And like,
Gate.
I was trying.
It was session 2 because session 1 was where you and I.
Okay, I was incorrect. It was session 2.
The disembodied voice of Dan is correct.
Yeah, the disembodied voice of Dan is correcting me. It was session 2. It was session 2 then. Yeah, because the first session, I showed up and I saved Dan's character. So I was like going out of my way to be helpful. Like, I needed this group of people to help me out with something, to do something for me.
Mm-hmm.
And they just weren't having it.
Like I said, I've always enjoyed the idea of having like slightly characters with some different viewpoints, I suppose, in the world. Like, you think of it like,
Mm-hmm.
I think of it like a lot with our Everstorm game. Like, I always consider, and maybe this is right or wrong, but I don't consider my character bound to be like the main character of the story. I really, most of the time in my head, it's Fulcrum.
Yeah.
And I would consider like Kodo and Bowron to be like the angel and the devil that sits on his shoulders, right? Like, literally, because that's what the character is, like, literally just giving him good and bad ideas like all the time.
Right.
Like, so I think there's a fun dynamic that could be done through that sort of stuff, like to have those varying kind of viewpoints. Like, I consider my character bound to be like a drunkle. He's just the drunk uncle who shows up and like gives you bad life advice and then goes back to his house. Like,
yeah, that's the way I took it too. I think I played Skeezer as like Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah. So I think there's ways it can definitely be done where you have a good time. But you're right. It's possible though that at any point in time, like something takes a wrong turn and you end up in PvP town.
I think necromancy goes there quick though. Like that I've wanted to play a necromancer. I just know it's never gonna work. Like, unless it's an all evil party. Like, it's just like the second you raise the dead or have a zombie or a skeleton, that's a deal breaker.
Right. Well, I don't know. Like, it shouldn't be.
Yeah. I mean, you can have a warlock apparently, and that's fine. You know,
there needs to be that level of respect that, like, everyone's characters need to be at the table to work together as a team. As long as there's that line, like, we're going to do this together. Everyone can do that. You can be an evil person. You can be an ultra good person. And there can be that intrapersonal conflict. There can be that, you know, I know that your character has a problem with this. My character has a problem with that. As long as we know we can like poke each other about it a little bit. But as long as one person's not being the wet blanket to the other person,
right,
you can work through it.
I think it works so long as you have a strong objective, like a group objective, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say also. Like, I feel like I always like to reference Magneto and Professor Xavier when I have this kind of talk. And I may even said this last time we had you on the show. We talked about
we did.
those two only work together when Apocalypse is around.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Galactus or some other larger threat. You can get those two finally to stand there, put their differences aside, and go deal with the problem. So if you have that external threat out there, like you've got it. Everyone will fall in line. It's when there's not any other external threats and the players have time to sit around and look at each other like, well, what's wrong with you? That's when.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I still don't. Yeah. I mean, there has to be, you have to set aside, this is what my character would do in the interest of everyone at the table having fun.
Right.
Now, if the person who's being evil is going around and making it not fun for everyone, then that's a problem. If the person who is, the good paladin is very specifically ruining the fun, for the evil character, then that's a problem. There can be antagonism, but it's got to be respectful, and it's got to be, you got to rein it back before it becomes problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure.
If you're playing at tables with people it's usually you can find a gray area where you can play in, and it is not too big of a deal.
Yeah.
All right.
With random strangers, a little harder to do. Like
Need to murder that cricket, by the way.
The cricket's back. I'll find him one of these days.
Oh man, that one. God.
He's just the herald for Sprocket the Holy Toad to return.
Oh, if he doesn't show up soon, it's gonna be winter. Oh man. Yeah, so next time we do a party, we should be nothing but rangers specialized in killing crickets.
Amazing. Rust monsters. Get the rust monsters out.
Oh, awesome. Ooh, there you go.
Yeah. So that's an interesting issue, though. Like, I do think that this whole story has been kind of a good one for people to learn from, because I think every group ends up having this experience at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not a soft reset or a soft TPK as he framed it, but if you end up in a weird situation like this, what do you do with your campaign? Like, how do you continue rolling on?
Right. And that was, that was where we were at. We're like, these two characters can't travel with those three characters.
Mm-hmm.
Those three characters can't travel with these two characters. So we either need to roll 2 new characters or we need to roll 3 new characters.
Mm-hmm.
Since the 2 new characters were brand spanking new, it's like, no, you 3, you gotta make new characters.
Now, was it a situation where you couldn't change the nature of your characters a little bit to bend the concept?
We could have possibly done that. There was 2 big issues. One is there was just a huge amount of distance between them, because the 3 existing characters, like I said, they teleported back to their sanctum. They were way far away. We're like, what story reason would there be for these group of people to try and meet back up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'd be challenging. Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me very much of our Limworld campaign, where your barbarian famously crit himself.
He's soft critted.
He soft critted himself, and then the rest of the party was like, screw those guys, we're all out of here, and everybody left but me.
Oh, yeah.
That was a weird death scene.
I was the opposite. I was the paladin, so I was the paladin who was left, and then a whole new group found me, and we became a new party. So we had a similar situation, but it was like the opposite. It was a random death that caused that one. But we had a similar. I guess that was a soft TPK as well.
A little bit, yeah. And Dan in the chat here, I dare you to auto crit yourself to death in one round. I don't think you can do it.
How did you do that?
It's a fantastic story. I know he's told it on the show before.
I have. I was playing a barbarian.
This point our Pathfinder. This is
Pathfinder
edition, by the way, for those of you who are trying to keep up with the story.
Okay, well, anything's possible in Pathfinder.
That's
so
true.
That's half the legwork.
I was an invulnerable barbarian, so it should have been tough as nails, right? And we surface, and I think it was this game session they introduced a crit table. Crit fumbles, crit, whatever.
Okay.
And they just added it into the game. And we get in this situation, and there's an NPC that the goodish characters in the party are like, yeah, we need to protect this person even though he's kind of a dick. But we'll get him going because we need him for something. And then there were other people in the party who had another idea in their head. So we surface, and there's this awful, horrible army of dwarf and dwerger things. They're just way higher level than us. They're just stomping the shit out of us. And I'm like, hey, it's just me and the paladin hanging out here in this little courtyard surrounded by 10 of these guys who are just murdering us. and they're like off in the distance murdering this NPC.
Yeah, that NPC. Yeah,
And then
NPC, you know.
yeah. So like we're sitting up here in this courtyard, and I can't remember exactly how it went down, but it was like, we're not in a good spot here. We need to get out of here. This is going bad very quickly. And I was like, we can't leave unless I kill this dude in front of me. Like, that is the one guy stopping us from getting out of here.
Okay.
And so I swing for the fences with my giant hammer. And I nat 1. All
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Roll it again. Nat 1. Okay. That triggers the fumble chart.
The fumble chart.
I roll the 100 percentile.
Ooh.
Comes up on there. You crit yourself and your nearest ally. Okay, well that shouldn't be too bad. Oh, by the way, my hammer is a ×4 crit mod.
Oh, shit.
And I was power attacking and all kinds of stuff. I ended up doing I think it was 112 damage to myself or something. Just instant give myself. And almost kill my friend here, who's the paladin buddy next to me. And that was the end of it. Just bang.
And for the record, my character was... the only reason I survived it is because I had a cloak that could store 10 hit points in it. So whenever I dropped, the cloak would give me 10 hit points back. So he killed me, and it gave me 10 hit points back, and then I got up and walked away from the
Oh,
fight.
wow.
Yeah, so in that particular campaign, the other characters were all evil adjacent,
Right.
kind of evilish.
Shady characters. They were shady characters.
None of them had really any interest in one another necessarily. And so when this happened, they were just like, that's a whole lot of dwarves over there. Yeah. All right. Just buggered off. That was the end of the party.
Which left just poor Wilhelm standing
Right. With 10 hit points.
with 10 hit points. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a wild scene. So, we kind of had the same situation. The whole campaign stopped there. And then we made new characters and then started back up in the same timeline, same plot and everything. But it was new characters minus Dustin's character.
Yeah. My character continued on.
Okay.
Critical
There's
fumbles.
TPK, yeah.
Critical fumbles.
One mighty roll.
One of those things why Jeff hates random charts.
Not my favorite. Not my favorite. It always goes against me. I've never once had a cool thing happen from a random chart.
Yeah.
It's always awful stuff. Every time.
You just wait till this next Zweihander game. I got random charts for you.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
Oh, man.
I'll just roll the chaos in this one.
You have to embrace the chaos in my game. It's going to happen.
It's fine. Everything's fine. Nothing wrong with embracing that chaos.
I mean, we're trudging into some interesting territory in that Zweihander game.
Yeah, we are.
We didn't get to play yesterday, which was unfortunate, but we did go ahead and postpone the game for 2 weeks to give our players who are down there in the southern states right now a chance to recover from the hurricane. So as that happens in a couple of weeks, you guys are going to be looking at doing something that I rarely ever do in any story, and that's time travel.
Mm-hmm.
Not enough time travel.
Very, very surprised by this because Dustin famously hates time travel.
I am notorious for not liking any plots that usually involve time travel.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they always do the same thing. They always use it as the answer to the problem.
Right.
So good luck with it being the answer to your problem.
Yeah.
So it is we are in some interesting territory though, because we are talking about characters who are not necessarily all the greatest people in the world.
That's
and
right.
you got certainly a band of people who are not the greatest people in the world.
Yeah.
I think your last game session, you guys universally decided to burn down an entire building full of people.
They were cultists. They're not people.
They're people.
They were worshiping a devil thing.
Yeah.
We're morally in the clear on that one.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be charts involved. There's going to be fun chaos charts in the next game. I was sad that it didn't get to go down last night because I was super hyped to have this talk with Chuck today after all the crap I was going to do to him in this game session yesterday, but then we didn't get to have it. So, I mean, you know what Taints of Chaos are, Chuck. So you know those charts. You know how bad they're going to be and how much fun they're going to be. So
yeah.
All right. Well, so I don't. So let's go spell out some of the things that could potentially go awry here in our Zweihander game.
you've actually seen some of the Taints of Chaos already
Some
take
claws,
place.
a little tail.
Claws, there's a tail.
Mhm.
You can limbs that turn into weaponry.
Yeah.
All kind. It's all technically good stuff.
I was gonna say the Marauder stuff. Yeah, sounds pretty
Yeah,
good
it's
to
all
me.
technically good stuff. But you guys are going to have a lot more encounters with more demons and all kinds of cool stuff. And then you gotta make a jump through time. And the only thing I haven't figured out exactly is how I'm going to describe that jump through time. I've been thinking in my head a lot lately about how am I going to describe that part. Like you've seen a lot of time travel, like in movies and everything else, and it's just kind of like I haven't decided how that's going to appear.
Yeah.
We climb into a cardboard box. It hums a little bit. We climb back out. It's like 6 days before.
That's it.
Good old primer.
There you go.
Man, that cricket, dude. It's like,
I know.
That is cricket torture.
I always joke, like and I know Malice, he's making fun of me in there for the cricket, but he's actually dealt with the cricket longer than anyone because before we were streaming, and you would occasionally hear him here, I played online games with Plague, an online guild, and anyone from Plague knows that I've lived in 4 different houses, and I always have somehow a fucking cricket.
Right next to the microphone, apparently.
To the microphone somewhere. And so, and then everyone else then, of course, obviously knows that at some point or another, I end up with a frog or toad in my house that I find that runs around and eats them all. And then he disappears, and we never know what happens to him. We call him Sprocket the Holy Toad. And he only shows up to eat the crickets, to drive them out, and then he disappears, and no one ever knows where he goes. So
it blows my mind that there's always a way for a toad to find its way into your home.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know how they get there. That's why I've decided he's just like my divine summon. Like he just
We'll get that summon on. Like let's figure out what ritual you need to do.
I don't know. But the cricket's for real.
Yep.
And usually I can't. Usually I'm the only one who doesn't hear him because these do a really good job of noise cancellation. So everyone else hears him. I don't. But actually I can hear him today too. So.
Oh man,
he's really going at it.
Yeah, he's. I killed one inside the house the other day, and I thought I got rid of him, but I didn't.
In the next Zweihander game, can we have a cricket bad guy?
Actually, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will make him and Sprocket both will appear in the next one. So
there you go.
Nice.
I am right in the 3rd section again because I am writing 2 modules, 3 modules technically. I am doing Terror and Treefell, which I have a second group running through. They'll play this Thursday. They are. I don't know that we're watching, but spoiler, they'll be fighting some large insects. So I can make crickets this time.
Nice.
There you go.
They were ticks in the first go round. I can make crickets this time.
Oh, ticks. Nasty. There's a lot of body horror in this campaign. That seems to be a running thing.
That's not too far off for Zweihander.
Yeah. I mean, if it's based on Warhammer-ish stuff, that seems par for the course. But there's an awful lot of body horror.
Yeah, I didn't intend it that way. It's just kind of how it worked out. But the reason they were ticks in the first run of Terror and Treefell is because the bad guy, the disease, just warps existing parasites.
Okay.
So everything is parasitic. It's tapeworms, which you guys are encountering in Hornhuttenberg. So you've seen the worms.
Yes.
The ticks that there's a pack of wolves that run into the village in Terror and Treefell, but before the wolves attack, they shrivel into corpses into the ground as the ticks get real big and bulbous and basically eat the entire wolf and then come look at the players. So that's what the players dealt with in Terror and Treefell the first run, but this time I could do something with crickets instead, just for the
shits and giggles. Yeah.
By Thursday, I have a feeling I will not find and kill this thing by Thursday, so it'll just be an effect at that point.
Yeah. So in your game, for anyone who's missed it, we have all those episodes up on our YouTube channel, which I'll go ahead and link up here. The last game, we had some severe shenanigans come up. We're basically a ragtag crew of just street-level banditry. And stuff just never goes right for us. And we decided we need to re-steal a thing. And these one dudes had it. And we're like, okay, it's a bunch of cultists. We'll just we'll flush them out of their house and then we'll steal it. We'll little smoke in there. Like they're a beehive or something. We'll steal the honey. We're good to go. And apparently, bad rolls are the end of all good plans, or plans that have no plan, like ours. And we caught ourselves on fire. We ended up burning the building down, releasing a demon. No biggie thing, right? Like, it's rampaging across. Hey, lollygaggers are here.
Evening with a party of 11. Welcome, Jeff.
Welcome.
Lollygaggers.
That raid.
It's a good name. It's a good name, that Jeff.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so it was a crazy time. We got demons and stuff. So naturally, our party was just like, let's just time travel and get out of here.
You guys were already planning the time travel, but now time travel is starting to look like the only possible option.
Right. Well, the nice thing is we're not planning a return trip.
Nope.
No.
One-way ticket.
It's a one-way trip out.
Yeah.
So happy about it.
But what I love is that my first group, because this is you guys are not the original party. You are the party for Horror and Huttenberg, but the previous, if you will, almost the prequel had a different group of players who was a different party. And that party went into Terror and Treefell thinking they were going to be heroes. And they came out villains. You guys are starting out villains, and by the time you're done, you might be heroes. Like, you might actually save the world as a
turn of events.
Oh, it looks like chat's revealing something happened in a channel far, far away.
What?
Apparently, somebody destroyed somebody.
Oh, they killed my character in Aliens tonight.
What? Without you there?
You weren't even there? You died. You weren't even there.
Wasn't even there.
That's
First
impressive.
second, they killed me.
You know, you're just talking about how like an entire soft TPK occurred around you. Now they're killing your characters while you're not there.
Right?
Chuck has been on a death roll lately. He's died the last two Zweihander games. In my game, Chuck has died. You died on Aliens. The last time I watched you play Aliens, twice. Yeah,
Died twice in Matt's game.
You may have to change the name of your Zine to Chuck dies at the end,
or in the beginning.
I think Dan is
to it, but
I think Dan is like doing some kind of like ritual to switch our luck on dice rolls because he's doing better and I'm doing worse.
That's amazing.
You left him alone with your dice bag, didn't you?
That must have been it. He got my dice.
He got your dice somehow. So
hey, we had an entire conversation earlier about random dice rituals or superstitions. Apparently, I'm the only one in the chat who is an evil dictator to their dice, or has all kinds of superstitions about their dice, but nothing else in their life. If you got some superstitions or weird stuff you do with your dice, depends on the weird stuff. Let's keep it, rated PG-13, we'll say. And let us know in the chat. I'm really curious about it. Let's see.
Yeah. But no, so you guys, you guys summoned a large demon, which, I mean, you guys had already kind of speculated that the body you found might have the demon in it. So you guys were on the right path. You just decided setting it on fire was the best course option. Was the best option.
And now start a fire. I gotta say that is my favorite thing with Ivan's Rules of the Road. That's a lot of fun to reference.
It's solid, man.
I was joking about how, like, so much of the plot lines I put in Horror and Huttenberg are based off of like 80s movies. So there's like the Ghostbusters plot, and there's the Back to the Future plot. And, and you guys went inadvertently created a Terminator plot that I didn't see coming. Like
we did. Now I'm a robot, and I got to go back in time, and I got to kill a child.
So we were joking about how your voice now has to sound like whatever the Emperor is for Valandria, because the Emperor, this golem was intended to house the Emperor's soul, not Ivan, and now Ivan's inside of it. So you don't have your Russian accent. You have to sound like the Emperor. And we were kind of trying to decide what the Emperor should sound like. And now I think it officially has to be an Arnold Schwarzenegger voice. Like, you got to do your best Arnold for the rest of the game.
We must go to the past.
You have to do Arnold for the rest of the game now, because that
must fight the children. Goodbye to the chopper.
And it's great because the chopper is actually a motorcycle this time.
Yeah.
It's a time machine, so you can officially throw that line in there in the next game now, Chuck. So I was thinking about it, and I was talking. I was like, we got to do Arnold for the Emperor. So
I can try. Like, I'm terrible at Arnold, but I'll give it a shot.
Just give it a shot. You can do your best. I believe in you, Chuck.
If it doesn't go well, you could just say it's because of the voice modulator. So you're set.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
You might have to tell people what's up with that, because this is quite a crazy story that's happened here, Dustin.
With what? With what happened to Chuck's character?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, well, 2 games ago, Chuck avoided death because those of you who are watching the show are collecting cams down there at the bottom of the screen. And during my Zweihander sessions, you can spend 10,000 of those cams to give a player a fate point. And when Ivan died, Animal G busted out 10K worth of channel points to save Ivan's life and give him a fate point that he needed to survive. And then the following session, they decided to go after one of the major NPC bad guys for the campaign I put together, and ended up in a confrontation with him, upon which he used his court sword and neutered poor Ivan.
He did.
Of
You
all
hit me
the-
right in the junk.
All the random
He mangled his
shards.
organ, and that was the injury he sustained, was mangled organ. And then he was laying there incapacitated, and then got hit by the tempest storm lightning that the soothsayer could do, and it officially killed your character.
It did.
But then when the party was able to finally take him down, you guys had already found the golem body laying there, and it had become canon at this point because of what you did to Genie the dwarf a few game sessions before, that a recently dead character can have their soul taken out and put into a golem and it'll function.
Mhm.
Yep.
So that was already canon, and you had everything you needed in the room to do it, because this is literally the room where it happened the first time. And that is what you guys ended up doing. So then Ivan got put inside the golem that was intended to house the Emperor, who was old and feeble and not going to make it much further on his own. So now Ivan is running around in the Emperor's new clothes.
Yeah, as the Emperor's new groove, I guess.
Kind of. That is kind of what it's
Mhm.
You know what I'm kind of impressed by?
I could probably find a NVIDIA thing that would filter out the cricket, but more likely what's going to happen is I'll just find a way to get it killed between now and whenever I play again.
Yep. What's really particularly fascinating about this campaign is that, in spite of a giant pink demon raging fire through the sky, buildings exploding, people having giant tapeworms erupting from them in the streets, the Emperor's like, I'm still coming.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's been traveling for 7 days to get there, and his army's just arriving as all this is happening, so he didn't know about it till now.
Right.
So that's what this episode is going to be. That's why this episode is all the king's horses and all the king's men.
Nice.
They're all arriving to town as this is going on. So
Right. I mean, I guess they can't text him and be like, "Hey, shit's fucked up. Come here."
Send a runner out and be like,
Not a good idea.
the parade is a little different this year.
you can make a good argument that they could probably see the big storm forming over Huttenberg. That would be about their only clue that something bad is going on.
Or the giant demon bird flying overhead.
It's not a giant demon bird yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. Not yet.
Right now it's still a woman. It looks like a woman with.
Okay.
All right.
Soon to be giant demon bird. I guess she wouldn't really show up in the distance.
No. It's very inconspicuous, this giant demon in the sky.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interest in your the flavor of your smoke tonight, there, Chuck.
Is there another question?
Another question about it.
Earlier in the night, but Malice has shown up a bit later, so you'll have to tell him again what you're smoking there, Chuck.
Malice, this is it's a Cavendish. You get it from my local joint in town. It's called Sweet Dixie. It's like a vanilla Cavendish, so real mellow and smooth, and just a wonderful smoke.
Smooth.
Mm-hmm. It was great.
So I guess on just a level of how much have you enjoyed the Zweihander campaign thus far, Chuck? You're avid.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun. The group is good. I like the story. It's kind of been interesting working towards something, trying to figure out where all the pieces fit together and then where we fit in those pieces.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got the feeling that, there wasn't necessarily like what you would call a wrong answer on how to get to the finale. Like we could have like partnered up with this other person, or we could have worked closer with the maester, and it would have all kind of evolved into the finale. So it was it's neat getting to see we have these options and we need to pick the option that fits us the most. And then realizing like, oh no, the guy we accidentally killed his daughter, we do actually need him and need to go back and talk to him. I was going to kill him too, so I'm glad we didn't.
There's been a lot of shenanigans in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have been a shenanigans-based group. I don't know if it's because you kind of de facto had Chuck as your leader for like at least a couple of games where Chuck was making some of the calls. Like,
yeah.
Well, I think it started when we all rolled scoundrel type characters.
Yeah.
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, you got a fence.
Mm-hmm.
You had you're a rake.
Mm-hmm.
Smuggler.
Ex-con. Yeah.
Ex-con.
Yeah. Convict. Asher as the dragoon was really the only non-criminal one, really.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Even though you're not all knaves.
Sure.
Just you just got the right combination of people to be a really bad group. So
yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this game runs with a different crew, because it has to have a completely different take, right? Like, I can't imagine your typical group making the decisions we made.
Yeah, I have to think about that as I'm writing all this down. Like I said, I wrote essentially like 7 small plot lines in Horror in Huttenberg,
mm-hmm.
all based around different NPCs. And what I did was I layered them so that they're kind of hidden. I made like the 5 major NPCs, and then I gave each of them an underling who is actually a major NPC that you don't realize is. And then now you guys have revealed all those plots, so I'm not spoiling anything for you. Like you can clearly now see where like there were the people, then there were the underneath people who all had their own things as well.
Right.
And they just henchmen, like you kind of are led to believe when you first meet them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so each one of them has their own goals, and you're right. It's exactly what it's supposed to be, Chuck, where the players then meet the NPCs, they figure out which ones they want to latch on to,
mm-hmm. and
then figure out, the idea is you get this resource, then you have to decide how best to use the resource. And
right.
you take the Back to the Future. You decide to go back in time to fix all of this.
Why not?
So that's next game when we get around to it. I was a little sad, like I said, that we didn't get to do it last night. I was this next episode is going to be an exciting one. There's going to be a lot of systems. For those of you who've been watching Under the Influence, my GM prep show, you've seen some of the stuff I've had to put together for this next episode. So I got a little more time to work on it and polish it up now. But
there you go. More time never hurts.
Yeah, it'll be nice, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be very action movie feeling.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I can handle that.
First half of the episode will be a lot of talk and role play, and the last half's going to be action movie if I can pace it right. So,
Malice, I basically kind of put the creative side of my life on hiatus for a little while. So when I get back into the swing of things, I'll start doing some DM prep and run Pathfinder again. But it's on hold for a while.
Yep. So I've been doing GM prep on Wednesdays. Next Wednesday, well, we're going to do outros here pretty shortly. We'll talk about what next Wednesday will be around here. But so we got so that's coming up again in a couple weeks when we get to resume Zweihander. We'll have Chuck and Jeff here both. Jeff, have you been feeling the same as Chuck about the plot thus far?
Yeah, I think it pretty much rocks it right away there. I think for me, it's I'm getting also just learning Zweihander as a system at the same time. So there's like kind of that element plus story that's going on. Stories, I'm having a good time with it. I'm having a lot of fun just kind of poking around with the party and trying to figure out what's going on with the plot and dealing with the wacky NPCs and trying to figure out, navigate what it is our characters would want to be doing with the situation. But mostly it feels like when you start to fall in an obstacle course and you just decide, we're just going to go. And it's just like, I think that's a foothold. That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Because what's interesting is my off-stream Zweihander group that I'm running through Terra and Treefell, they're 3 episodes in.
Mm-hmm.
Their 4th episode will be on Thursday.
Yeah.
They are beat for beat exactly the same decision-making processes as the original Terra Trifo group. They haven't really deviated at all from that path.
Oh.
Like, they are right on course. And I every time you retell the same story, like even when you're telling a real life story about yourself, whatever, you get a little better on how to tell that story. Like if you hear me tell stories from my fraternity days, I've told that story 100 times. I got it down to a science on how to tell stories. So the same sort of thing. Like I found like little inconsistencies in the way I was telling it the second time around, but it was not enough that it deviated them from the plot line itself. So like what'll be interesting is when I get this thing in a really good rough draft format, what I want to do is I want to give it to Chuck.
Okay.
Like, Chuck, run your kobolds through it. I want to see their shit like go down. And just because your group is the kind that'll take that, and I know what you'll do with it, and it'll be a completely different story than what I'm getting both of my runs through.
There's a good chance, yeah. It'll be fun. I'll be very interested to see where the deviations come up.
And I very much do intend on that off-stream group then, if their characters survive, to put them directly into Horror and Huttenberg afterwards. So I will run with it off-stream as well. So when that comes around, I'll tag you guys in some of the posts on updates on how they're doing, just like I do the Terra Trifo group for the current one now, so you can hear a little bit about what they've decided to do.
Yeah, that's a really fascinating experiment because, like, you know, in our games we typically don't play modules or, you know, the same story multiple times, and certainly not with different group of people. So, like, you're really going to get a good sense of what that story is and what it's able to do with different people, and that's really cool. Like,
I think it's a necessary thing when you're writing a module.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have to have different playtest groups. You know, if you're doing a Zine like what they're doing, you're creating random spots of content to put out there. You may not necessarily need all the playtest groups. Like, did you guys playtest your Zine? Any of the stuff?
All the stuff that's in this one is stuff that I've been running for a while. So like Winter Chicken Dinner, it's one of my fallback dungeons. So I've ran it countless times.
Okay, you've already done the work on that before.
Yeah. So that's the next handful of issues I've got. I've got just a bunch of fun little I'm going to kill all the player dungeons that I'm going to put into these things. So for a while, I don't have to worry about a whole lot of play testing. Eventually, I'm going to run out of my backlog. I might have to do a little play testing here and there.
Nice. Yeah, for anyone who joined us with those raids that maybe didn't hear about the zine, that link I just posted in the chat there takes you to it. And yeah, we've got some cool stuff on there. There's Friendon in the chat. He's responsible for the art.
There's Friendon.
Which I will show again. You don't need to see my face, right? There you go. So that is Friendon's artwork there in the chat. So pretty kick-ass stuff.
He's a great artist. We got a lot of shit. A lot of posters in the fire.
They have not yet got physical copies out, but
we're working on it. Actually, while we were here talking, I think Jen just sent me the updated cover file. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to resubmit that to drive-through and see if they complain again.
hopefully they'll have that soon enough for you there, Shed Easy. But in the meantime, you know, pick up that Zine, look through it, look at all the creative, cool stuff that Chuck and the group over at Kobolds is doing, and again, all that kick-ass friend and art. So it definitely, when you look at it, like I said, you said that this is system agnostic. Yeah. It's not intended for any one particular system, but when you see that art, I mean, Frenda did a hell of a job making that thing looks like it fits right in DCC's world.
Yeah, it does. Well, like it's system agnostic. The stats I put in there they're good for pretty much, you could use almost any Roll20 or D20 based system. It would fit right at home in a DCC game.
Hey, 2 times. Wow.
Coming in 79. Welcome to the show.
Nice. Welcome, guys.
Hey.
You're catching us towards the tail end right before we did our outros, but we appreciate you guys coming in here.
They just need to see me for a few minutes. That's all they need in their life.
Yeah, we're talking to Chuck here from Defenders of Kobold, and they're showcasing a really wonderful product, a zine. If I can get my link to go. Here we go. That will take you to Dan Dies in the End. And we wanted to make sure you check that out. I'll show you once again the artwork that was just on the screen covering my face. It's way better than my face anyway, so there you go. That is responsible for what person are in our chat here. Friendon was the artist of that one.
Q times right before they come over here to visit us usually is playing Star Trek, I believe.
Mm-hmm. I've caught a few of those episodes. They are fantastic.
Yes, fantastic episodes of Star Trek out there. So thank you guys for coming and joining us again. We're talking about Dan Dies at the End. It's designed, put together by Chuck here and the other Defenders of Cobalt. The art by Brendan, who's hanging out here in the chat with us tonight. It's fantastic. So we are excited to have you all here with us.
The best 50 cents you're ever going to spend.
Best 50 cents you could spend right there. Help
Nice.
support these guys and get some really cool content for your TTRPG.
Yeah.
It's absolutely great. One thing I do want to point out is we did a group collaboration for useless magical items.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh, and I love them. Let me give you some sort
little
of
taste
I have
of
the
it.
back cover. There's the back cover. It was covered. And there's
Oh,
Dan
look at that.
ripped apart.
Dan getting ripped apart on the back cover. Oh,
Yeah.
man. That's fantastic.
That's some good
Let
stuff.
me.
Shaggy says that we need to have Brendan come on the wisdom check. We will absolutely have Brendan come on the wisdom
Yeah,
check.
that'd be cool.
sometime.
He's got stories to tell, so he would be a fun one to have.
Nice. Yeah, we love talking to artists on here and get to see kind of like what goes into that whole process.
So yeah, some useless magical items. I'll give you some good ones. We've got
there
our
we go.
bone key. I'll see if I can get the art up for the bone key. It's right there, the little skeleton key.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There it is. Let's see. When you really need to open that door over there, it's a skeleton key that'll open any door except for the one you're standing in front of.
All right.
We got the ball of leveling.
Okay.
It's just a rubber ball. If you put it on a level surface, it'll roll off. If you put it on an uneven surface, it'll stay perfectly still.
So
Okay.
you can tell if something's level. If you put it on there, it rolls off its level.
Yep. What else? We got the stone of citrus. Imagine a stone that has been near an orange, a lemon, perhaps a whisper of grapefruit. No one knows for sure, and neither will you, with the remarkably unremarkable flavor of the stone of citrus. So it's just a rock that tastes citrusy.
Just a little bit.
I'm trying to find Dan's favorite. The Shroud of Loud. Bagpipes. The louder you play the bagpipes, the more invisible you become. Yeah.
I like
There's so much great stuff.
I like the thought of you just like slowly fading out into invisibility, just blasting
Yeah.
a bagpipe.
Yeah.
That's
the more you
ridiculous.
play it, we got there's so much great art that Brendan stuffed in here.
That's awesome.
Goblin superpowers are so fantastic. Everyone should check it out. My favorite in here is the oh god, where is it? Oh, I'm not going to be able to find it. I'm on the spot.
Let's just all of us just stare him down. Just make him
Number
really uncomfortable.
Number 21, nipple clamps.
Oh,
Goblin. The goblin has long, prehensile nipples that act as an extra set of limbs.
what?
And that's for the Goblin
Goblin Quest.
Goblin Quest, right?
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, you can give it to anything. There's nothing that's
Sure.
super stat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brendan wrote that one. It's so great.
He apologized to everyone.
The one I wrote, let me see if I can find it. It's reverse digestion. Your goblin eats with his ass and talks a lot of shit.
Oh. And this is all something that people could find in the zine, right?
All of it you can find in Dan Dies at the End.
Mhm.
Number one.
Can we get a little spoilery for number 2?
Sure
a
thing,
little- what are we looking forward to in number 2? I mean, you say you're like 3 months out, like from the next one or whatever, right? So
It's a little less than 3 months. I don't know, maybe 2 months out at this
maybe
point.
2 months?
So I already told you I'm going to be doing the short story. Zerl the Face Fister goes to the
Oh,
farmer's.
that's right. Goes to the farmer's market.
There's going to be sentient evil plants, vegetables that Zerl has to fight.
This reminds me of the Tick so much.
It's not real far off from there.
Oh,
Yeah,
Brendan,
thank you.
gift subs. Thank you, Brendan.
Shit, look at him.
Nice.
Big spender.
Dustin actually won one of those.
He gave one to me and you, Chuck. That was awesome of him. He put them in random, and that's who came in. We got 2 socks in there. Whoop, 2 socks for watching.
Thank you so much.
Have some cursed items, just flat out cursed items. Let's see if I got a spoiler on a cursed item for you. Oh God, the toe ring of recommended retreats. While worn on your toe, this ring will spin rapidly whenever retreat might be necessary. Warning, the ring also derives personal pleasure from generating false retreat recommendations at inopportune times.
Man.
The dungeon that I'm putting together here is I got to find the full name of it. It's got such a wonderful name. Oh God, where is it?
This is truly remarkable.
Oh, the name of it is the name of the dungeon is Blavid Dane, Spooky Mascara and Magical Tricks. Where you have to fight your way through Blavid Dane's home and murder him.
So is it just like a large mansion that's just, instead of like a haunted house, it's just full of like smoke mirrors and
Pretty much. You won't be disappointed. It is a very lethal dungeon.
So it's kind of like a Saw movie. Like you got to get through all the.
But the thing, yes, I don't want to give too much of it away, but there's very specifically, it seems relatively easy until you get to the very last obstacle.
That's
And
where
then
Dan
that
died,
last
right?
obstacle is just going to kill everyone. And
All
it's going to be one of those where, like, once the first person dies, everyone else is like, oh my God. But they don't have a choice. They have to go through with it.
Nice.
That's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. I ran that for some people here maybe a week ago.
Nice.
And I killed half of the party. It's got some fun tricks in there that really subvert dice mechanics. So
Nice. Well, Chuck, with addition to the zine here, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me primarily on Defenders of Cobalt, twitch.tv/Defenders of Cobalt, or you can hit me up on Twitter at Cobalt Defenders. Every other Friday, you can find me on twitch.tv/LyhanderRPG. Every other Saturday, twitch.tv/Goodman Games Official. The opposing Saturdays to that, twitch.tv/Free League Publishing. Mondays, you can also either find me on the Lollygaggers or more Free League Publishing. I think maybe here soon, every other Tuesday, I'll be on Free League Publishing again.
Man, busy guy.
I am
No,
very busy.
no
Oh,
one
and
promotes Chuck better than
every-
Chuck.
Yeah, and then Sundays, I'll either be on Notorious DMG or here on TT2KB.
Yeah, that's right. Because I was going to say, we're also card carrying members of the Notorious DMG. So
Yeah,
we
we are.
can occasionally hang out on there every now and then.
Yeah, Bert's running us through Shadowrun or
Oh, nice.
first edition D&D. So, and it's Shadowrun using Cortex because
Ooh.
no one knows how to use the actual Shadowrun system.
We know some guys.
We know
help you out.
Yeah, I don't have it in me to learn it, so I'm glad Bert is putting it in a much more manageable system.
That's great.
Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Sweet. Dustin, you want to run them through our mini announcements?
Yeah, I'll run us through the announcement real quick. I'm getting pretty good at this. So Monday nights, 10 p.m. Central Time here. You'll find us here at the Wisdom Check. Me, Jeff, typically a guest. I don't think I have one scheduled for next week.
Ooh.
Maybe it'll be a friend, and maybe I'll get Jeff from the Lollygaggers to stop by. Who knows who I'll get to be on the show next week? It might just be me and Jeff. We'll have to just wait and see. We do have a couple other guests coming up soon. We got Jeff Leeson coming up in a couple weeks, who owns the original TSR building and is currently making it into a game museum. We're going to have some really cool talks with him coming up. I also have booked in the next couple of weeks. Daniel D. Fox will be here. He's talking about Project 1776. We're going to be talking about the new book coming out from them, and that kicks off in a couple of weeks. So we're excited to have him come back on the show.
Yeah, they announced what the official name is today.
Oh, is that what he dropped? I didn't get a chance to look today. Work was super busy.
Yeah, they announced the official name, Project 1776. I don't know. Do you want me to tell her? Or you want to wait for him to tell her?
Man. I don't know. He dropped it on Twitter.
He put it on Twitter.
Oh, I didn't say it. It's fine. It's
No,
out there.
it's Flames of Freedom.
Flames of Freedom is the official name of the book. Then, so that's what we'll be talking about with him in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
That Kickstarter kicks off, I think, on the 5th. I think he said so.
October 5th. Yeah.
October
Oh,
5th.
sweet.
So we're going to have him on just a couple weeks after that Kickstarter gets going. So you can look forward to a conversation with him. It's been a while since he's been on the show too.
Yeah, it was a fun conversation last time.
So, yep, I'm still booking guests for the end of October, or beginning of October, actually, and then into November. So if you're out there, you're interested to be on the Wisdom Check, just get hold of me at TT2KB on Twitter, and I'll get you booked.
Perfect.
That's Mondays. Tuesday, Cameron is here. He's been doing a lot of the Super Mega Baseball 3. I don't know if he's also been doing Bardic Knowledge and Barbell Knowledge. I don't know
Tomorrow
which
is
one
Barbell Knowledge.
Barbell Knowledge, where you can watch Cameron do workout episode, teach you all you need to do to get your butt back in shape.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wednesday, I'll be doing GM prep, 10 p.m. here. We'll put some more fine polishing touches on our Terra and Trifo game that I got to run off stream on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And probably even a few more goodies I might be adding into Horror and Huttenberg. And I might even start on Wednesday working on Vigilantes of Valandria, which is going to be the third installment of my Zweihander campaign. So I got some big plans for it. It's not going to debut here on the channel until probably early 2021. I still got another solid month of Horror and Huttenberg episodes, and then the player finale where I have the players just talk about what a great time they had in the campaign and all the things they thought was awesome. And then I'm going to do Bitter Harvest and maybe something about Marie here on the channel before I launch Vigilantes of Valandria in early spring next year, probably. So
Nice.
that's the timeline on that. But I might actually start doing some of the writing and some of the stuff for it on GM Prep. That'll be my show. I've decided I'll call it Under the Influence, where I sit, drink rum, sing badly, and write with Zweihander content. So that'll be 10 p.m. Wednesday. Next Wednesday at 10 p.m., there's going to be something different on the channel. And I would love to tell you what it is.
Yeah, I would love to tell you what it is too, but
All we know
No one
is that
knows.
our 5e DM, Levi, has put up a game that he's just referring to as Dark Secret. And we're doing character creation next week, and we don't even know what system it is.
Yep.
He just told us we're making characters. So Jeff is a Roomba from the future with a bad attitude, and I'm a talking car. And we're going to do it as a buddy cop film between a Roomba and a car. Like, we don't know what we're doing. That's the current character concept we have going on. We don't know what we're doing. So that's where we're at the moment. Thursday is usually video game night. Jeff, is there going to be video game night this week?
I would
What are you
like
guys
to say yes. I hope so. I know Timmy and I were playing some Grand Theft Auto today, and we got it set up to where we could do a heist. Should we ever find a way to convince some of the other guys to play the game with us? If not, we may get back into some 7 Days to Die, or I don't know, we'll toy around with some other game systems. Maybe some, I don't know. It would be kind of fun to play some more Vermintide. Get some Twitch
bring
interaction.
Vermintide back.
I had some fun with that.
That brings us to Fridays, where we take a day off here at TT2KB.
Mhm.
But you can check out our friend Air Laser. They're usually streaming a game on Fridays. And I think Chuck there says he plays on Fridays. So you can go find Air Laser or Defenders of Cobalt. They'll be playing. And Saturday is not going to be Everstorm, I don't believe, either.
No, we
I
got
think
a little bit of time.
We got a little bit of a break. With Everstorm getting knocked back and with Horde and Huttenberg missing a section, our weekends are a little empty at the moment, but that will bring us around then again to next week, to Monday to Wisdom Check. So you'll be able to find us back here then. So
Fantastic.
tune in tomorrow for Barbell Knowledge, 8 p.m. Central Time.
Mhm.
That's the next place you'll find content going on here. Check out the Defenders of Cobalt. Check them out on Zweihander RPG, Free League Publishing, and
Good
Good
game.
Games. You find them there too. So
Nice.
Chuck is all over the place. It's great to have you back, Chuck. Thanks again for
Yeah.
taking time.
Yeah, I
to be with us.
appreciate you.
It's been fun.
Absolutely.
And I suppose I should do the last part of my job and find us a raid target.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I'll remind people that we have a YouTube channel. I've got a link up there in the chat. So all of our past content from the Wisdom Check, most of our other shows are up there. You will also find that we are on Spotify, YouTube, or not YouTube. We are there, but Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, like basically anywhere you could find any of these podcasts, we have the Wisdom Check episodes up there. So if you prefer that methodology, just go search out and find it. And we have some good ones. Like last week, we just talked to Luke Gygax. So if you missed that one, make sure you go check that one out.
All right. And we are going to stop by a longtime supporter of the show, Crimson Blades. He is currently playing a video game. I saw it for a second and I lost it. I lost the name. But we're going to go say hi to him. So everyone say hi to Crimson. Tell him TT2KB sent you. And we will catch you guys next time.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great night.